Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, how you doing?
Super Bowl pick looking kind of good, Skip.
Well, Shannon Sharpe is wrong again. Another wrong pick by Sharpe.
Oh, hold on. Who's Super Bowl pick?
Just can't help himself.
Who was the Super Bowl pick?
Wait. Who did you pick to win last night?
I picked the Ravens.
You picked the Ravens.
The Ravens,
You
yeah.
didn't even have the faith or the guts to back your Super Bowl pick.
I didn't. Hold on.
I give up.
No.
I don't play that game.
I didn't say the Kansas City was gonna go 16-0.
Oh.
You also picked the Clippers too. Did you know they choked people at home? Did you know the Clippers choked?
That's all you got.
And
all
ended
you
up
got
getting
left
Doc
is the
fired.
Clippers.
Your guy got Doc fired, Skip.
I think Doc got
No, ain't no Doc. Ain't no Doc. No, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that.
Big news.
Don't do that. We're going to have a long conversation about that.
Yeah, we're going to get to everything regarding Doc. He is out with the Clippers. But first, we do have to talk about the game that we saw last night, even though Shannon didn't get the right pick. But hey, they are your, Super Bowl defending champs. Yeah. The Chiefs, they stayed undefeated last night after beating the Ravens 34-20. Patrick Mahomes looked like his usual self with an efficient 385 passing yards and 5 total touchdowns. But the KC defense was the big surprise last night, keeping the Baltimore offense out of the end zone until early in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson, who finished with only 97 passing yards, is now 4-3 against the Chiefs, and afterward even admitted that he looks at Kansas City as, quote, kryptonite. Shannon, what was the biggest reason the Chiefs won this game?
Well, Lamar didn't play well, and I think a part of that has to do with that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City offense put so much pressure, Skip, on your offense. You know, Skip, 17 points is not going to get it done. You're probably going to have to get somewhere in the high 20s, maybe even 30s, because they can score with such ease. Skip, you see the difference in their 5-17 as opposed to the Dallas's 5-22 of total offense? You see that? Not from behind, within the scope of the game, with the ease, the flow. They're ahead. He's so difficult. Before I go any further, if you say, Shannon, you get one player, quarterback, to go win a game with tomorrow, who you want? My homeboy. Shannon, you get one player 5 years from now to go win a game, who you want? My homeboy. He is the best player. He's the best quarterback. No disrespect, because Russell Wilson is having an unbelievable season, Skip, and he might be the MVP. But they can't see that kid. And you noticed last night, Skip, I thought when he did like 1, 2, 3, 4, I thought he was talking about touchdowns. But his fiancée, who's about to be his wife, put him at fourth again. He remembers. He's like, you mean to tell me I got an MVP, a Super Bowl MVP? I come from behind 3 times in playoff games, and I'm the 4th best player? Okay.
In the NFL's top 100.
Top 100.
Voted on by the players.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, Skip, they were 10 of 13 on third down.
Yep.
Skip, who you beating? If you can't get off the field, they tried everything. They tried to zone him. He got guys that can read the coverage. They sit down in the hole. They tried blitzing him. But, Skip, if you blitz this kid, Skip, you got to blitz with contain. You can't let him get outside the pocket. He's too mobile. He's too athletic. Because not only can he run, which he did last night for the very first touchdown, he can scramble and get first down, and he can still throw the ball with accuracy.
Yep.
They had no answer. And it seems to me, Skip, is that when Lamar's in these situations, he starts to press. And when he starts to press, that's no good. We saw it, Skip. We remember, and I'm going to throw the Chargers out because that was his first playoff game. He was young. Nobody really expected anything of it. But last year, we saw this offense is built to play with the lead. They're built to stay on schedule. 2nd and 3, 3rd and 3. Skip, they start getting 2nd and 14. They start getting 3rd and 9, and they fall behind. This is not a come-from-behind offense.
I agree.
So once they got behind, he started to press. Kansas City started turning up the pressure. And Lamar's going to have to understand, Skip, when they bring pressure, it's not necessarily that you escape wide. Sometimes you're going to have to step up in the pocket because Spagnuolo started dialing up the blitzes, and they did a great job of flattening him out. What I mean by that, Skip, they're intercepting him at a point. They won't let him get to the edge. They won't let him turn the corner. Patrick, Skip, somebody got their work cut out for him dealing with this team. They're good. Not only are they good because they put so much pressure on you offensively, they take the ball away. Chris Jones did a great job getting to the quarterback, Frank Clark. They turned him over. But right now, this is not a rivalry. I didn't think it was a rivalry. But Baltimore knows in order to reach their ultimate destination for the next 10 years, Skip, they're going to have to see 15.
Okay. You done?
I'm done.
My turn. Here we go. I know you don't play golf, but I do, unfortunately. And there's an old saying in golf that some holes just fit your eye. For some reason, the Ravens defense just fits Patrick Mahomes' eye. A lot of defenses don't fit his eye because before we goat him today, let's keep it in perspective. He really struggled in the Super Bowl against a defense that was hounding him and tormenting him. San Francisco's defense on Super Bowl night had him down 20-10 late in the third quarter and intercepted him. They had him down 20-10 early in the fourth quarter, and they intercepted him. They had him backed up all the way to, what was it, 3rd and 15 at his 31 late in the game. Where was it? Yep, 3rd and 15 at his 35. And he threw a punt pass, sort of a no-look into the flat to Tyreek. It's a 50-50 interceptable ball, and Tyreek came down with it. And I give you, it worked. But that's the game on the line. You were still down 20-10 when he threw that ball up to me for grabs. Tyreek had to come back and wave fair catch for it.
It wasn't up for grabs.
It was up for grabs. So my point is, man, if Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't go 3 for 11 in the fourth quarter for, what was it? Let me find my Jimmy G stats here. 3 for 11 for 36 yards with an interception in the fourth quarter. You're going to lose that game. If you have a competent quarterback on the other side, you're going to lose the Super Bowl. And maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But against the Ravens, he is GOAT. He is all world. Somehow he gets them, knows them, sees them coming before they even come. And he absolutely annihilates them. And he also gets huge help from his defense against Lamar. Lamar is 21-1 against all the other teams that he's played. Think about this. Let it go in your head. 21-1. Yeah. This team blitzkriegs everybody in the first half. That they're undefeated when they get ahead under Lamar at halftime because they almost always are ahead at halftime. But to your point, this is no Dak Prescott we're looking at here. Lamar is a very competent thrower. I think he's a very good thrower of the football, but he's not a bombs-away thrower. He's not a, we're down by 17, I got to throw it every down kind of a thrower. Their offense isn't geared that way. Their mindset isn't geared that way, and he's not used to that. That was a first for him last night. They're never behind like that, even in the first 2 games at Kansas City against Mahomes. But the first one went to overtime, and I thought Lamar played very well. Again, he was just a baby at that point against Patrick Mahomes. And last year, he played fairly well, and they hung in there and finally lost the game. But this was, man, this was a shock to the system.
Well, I think the thing was, Skip, the first time there's not the expectations that he has now. He's a MVP of the league now. In the comparisons where they're saying Lamar Jackson is a top 5 quarterback. So and the guy on the other side is Patrick Mahomes. They're going to always get that comparison, Skip.
Okay, I got it. So I don't want to get too X and O here, but you're a great X and O man. So this is how I saw this game last night. I'm going to boil it down to this. The Ravens blitzed Patrick Mahomes 45% of the snaps. Think about that. That's a lot. That's almost half the snaps they're going to come after you. Guess what? To my eye, and again, I don't keep a chart. I just keep a mental chart. They blocked the hell out of the Ravens blitz. It looked like an extra man was coming, a 5th man is coming, and they're just stoned across. They're just stonewalled.
They did. Andy Reid did a great job.
Great job.
There was a tail, Skip, because they're on the touchdown to Mecole Hardman. It was a 2-man route with max protection. And so they got their 2 fastest guys out on the route. They got Tyreek on the left. They got Mecole Hardman. But they know one thing. Marcus Peterson like to do what you call cluing.
He's a cluer.
He's going to jump.
He jumped the underneath.
He's going to jump the crossing route.
He did.
Where the guy got running the post and the safety's like, Marcus.
It's the guy who replaced Earl Thomas, Deshaun Elliott.
Yes.
He's looking back like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing to me?
Marcus, that's you.
Because this is what you call covered 3.
Yes.
He's got a deep 3rd.
Yes.
And you just keep backpedaling because he's going to come right to you.
But see, the thing is, he's thinking, ooh, I'm finna jump this Tyreek, get me a pick 6.
Hey, what's the point here? Marcus Peters used to be Chief.
Yes.
How many times did Patrick Mahomes practice against Marcus Peters?
Yes.
How many times? Dozens?
Yes.
Hundreds? I don't know.
Yes.
A lot.
Yes.
He knows exactly how he's built psychologically,
Right.
and it looked like they had that in the game plan.
Yes.
Like, we know exactly. He'll bite. He'll jump the underneath route, and he did, and he left Deshaun, what's his name? Elliott. Hanging. He just left him hanging. Like, okay.
And Skip, they run so many screens. They fake the double screen, wide check middle. They run the screen with a fullback, and here comes Mahomes on the dash, and he underhands throws the ball to the fullback.
Okay, I got it. He plays with supreme confidence against a very good Ravens defense that
they were number one in scoring.
That devours other teams except for this team.
Right.
So against the Blitz last night, Patrick Mahomes was 15 of 19 for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's impossibly great. And he would see it coming, and not only would he see it and go hot route immediately, but they would block it up.
Yes.
Not one time last night did I see a free runner come into his grill where he had to duck and cover. Lamar got blitzed only 35% of the time, still pretty high.
Yes.
But I saw free runners like on every other play where he's running for his life.
And the thing, even though if you blitz Mahomes, Skip, he's a guy that he's already 8 yards deep. He can retreat and off his back foot still throw the ball 50 yards. There are very few guys in the NFL that can do that. Because even on that touchdown, Marlon Humphrey got to him.
Yeah,
he came late. He got to him late.
Almost, but he didn't hit him before, obviously.
But Skip, I mean, look how far he threw that ball.
He threw it off his back foot, and he was already so deep.
Yes.
Because he had to give him an extra second to get behind.
Right, because Marlon is coming on the outside blitz, and they got a max protected it.
Okay.
So,
all right, I got it. Okay, so back to the early part of the game. This is where Lamar Jackson gets no help from his coaching staff or the rest of his team. They moved the ball quickly down the field with the opening drive, mostly because of Lamar's legs.
Correct.
There are a couple of runs where I just said, that's just too good, man. And they get it down to 4th and 3 at the 8-yard line, and John Harbaugh says, kick. Let's kick the field goal. No, you can't. Unless you have supreme confidence in your defense, which he should not have had off the 2 games in Kansas City, you have to go for the throat. You have to tell your offense, we are going to go for it because we need to go for it against this team.
I don't believe I'd have gone for it that early in the game, Skip.
Well, I would have.
They were going to go for it on the second one, Skip, and then they ended up getting the procedure.
Yep.
And they walked him back in. John said, just go ahead and kick it.
Okay, well, obviously, they take 3 and Mahomes takes 7.
Yes.
Okay, so then finally, my man Devin Duvernay, I told you the day after the draft, the Monday after the draft, I loved him at Texas, and they stole him in the 3rd round because he tormented my Oklahoma Sooners year after year after year at Texas because he is a sprinter who can play out of the slot, and he is uncoverable. And you saw what he did with the kickoff.
Yes.
93 yards up the sideline. He just flat out outran the whole defense.
And you thought it was going to be a game at that point, didn't you?
Okay, and all of a sudden I think, okay, and guess what happened on the next series? 3 and out.
Yep.
And for once, one blitz got there quick enough that he turned and threw to Kelsey in the flat about a split second too early.
Yes.
And Kelsey hadn't broken to the sideline yet. Okay, punt. Patrick Mahomes had to punt, or the offense had to punt. And then what happened? This is the play of the game to me. It gets down to 2nd and 6 at the 31. Do you remember this one? Lamar throws a deep ball over the middle, maybe a 30-yard pass to Mark Andrews from the University of Oklahoma. And you have to catch this. Shannon Sharpe is going to catch this. I realize.
Not only am I going to catch it, I'm going to the house with it.
Okay, you know what? It's potential house because you potentially.
Because he's just split the safety.
Yep.
The safety hit him on the backside, Skip. He split him.
I agree. You have to come clean with it. If you come down clean with it, they might run into each other. They just might, and you might still be running with it.
And Skip, the reason why you have to come down with it is because of who you're playing. This is not Cincinnati.
I got it.
This is not Cleveland. In a game of this magnitude, points are at a premium. And if you caught them right, you split it.
You did.
You got to hit your head on the goalpost.
Okay, and that would have put you ahead in the game. Maybe we're having a little different conversation. Maybe it seems a little more respectable.
Right.
But I have to give Lamar this much credit. They did fight all the way back to 27-20 early in the 4th quarter. That's respectable.
Right.
But then Kansas City gets the ball back, and they face a 3rd and 5 at the 30, and he flips it to Edwards-Hilaire out in the flat. It's just a blitz read, pick up the hot receiver, and he just trots for 18 yards. And then the killer play psychologically is 3rd and 10 down at the 39, the Baltimore 39. And they blitz up the middle, and Mahomes says, oh, really? The flat is wide open. It looked like he trotted for about 12 yards. Right. And again, I don't consider him fast. See the run against Tennessee.
Oh, he's booking on that one.
He's not what I would call fast. He's a 4.7-ish, which is still, it's reasonable.
Right.
He's a big kid. He looks like he weighs 240 to me, but I could be wrong. 235, 240. His legs and thighs, he's carrying a lot underneath. He's got some real stature.
Yeah.
But the point is, he is so, to your point, athletic. He was a shortstop in high school. And obviously his father played professional baseball, but he has athletic ability, so his first step quickness is pretty good, and he gets going pretty fast.
And the thing is, Skip, when you blitz, look, that's not Brady. That's not Manning. That's not Breeze that you can blitz, and if you flush him, you can chase him down. These guys now are too athletic. You can't do him. You obviously can't do Deshaun or Dak or Russell Wilson. Even the Josh Allen, Skip, if you blitz, you got to blitz with contain. You can't give the guy the whole side of the field to scramble to. And Baltimore kept doing, Skip, they kept doing it. I'm like, do y'all not know this guy? Did you not watch the tape of him in the playoffs? Did you not watch it? Because if you give him a side, he will take it. And then Skip, he's one of the few guys, and you don't say this often, but you'd rather him throw the ball from the pocket than get outside. Because now, when he gets outside, they start doing scramble drill.
Yep, I agree.
And they don't plaster. You got to go find somebody and stick to him.
Plus, he just has fun outside the pocket.
Yes.
He's laughing and smiling and giggling. It's just fun for him because he can make it up. He can go backyard.
And Andy has given him the ability, the green light. Son, try anything. And he'll try any throw at any area on the field.
No look, left-handed, underhanded last night.
It doesn't matter, Skip.
Yep, and it's just fun for him. You can't let him have too much fun or you are going to get annihilated.
Exactly. Now, in the way because they can run the football just well enough, I don't think they're a great running team, but they can run it just well enough. But the thing with them, Skip, Kansas City, is that they're built to come from behind now. If they need to throw it 55 times, he can throw it 55 times.
Well, obviously, we saw that hugely in 2 straight playoff games.
So they can run it.
For that matter, we saw it in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah. We saw what Edwards-Hilaire did in the opening game. They run the ball for what, 125, 130, him by himself. And then they come out. So there's a multitude of ways offensively they can score their 30-plus points. Skip, that's got to be, it's just like when you play Brady or you play Manning, and especially if you play them in their place. How do we get to 30?
Yep.
Because we know that's what they're going to get to. So now that's got to be it. Yep. You got to say, because they put so much pressure on your offense that if you don't get to that number, your defense, no matter how good they are, you're not holding them to 17 unless, Patrick Mahomes has a totally off day. He turns the ball, throws 3-4 picks, and they fumble the ball. It's raining. It's terrible conditions. Okay, but in a dome or conditions are ideal, nah.
Okay. So week after week, we read incredibly entertaining and outrageous quotes from Wink Martindale, right? The coordinator for the Ravens. Right. In fact, I think Harbaugh lets him do a lot of the conference calls with the visiting the rival media, right? Because he's a quote a week. Last week, remember the quote, Patrick Mahomes is actually underpaid. Okay, we get it. And there's always something funny from him. I'm not laughing at these 3 game plans against Patrick Mahomes because other teams, see San Francisco in the Super Bowl, figure out ways to contain him. He did lose back-to-back home games, Patrick Mahomes did last year to the Texans and the Colts.
Yes.
Well, other coordinators are figuring this out. It's not like Baltimore is without talent because they've got the talent to figure this out. It's game plan.
A lot of that, Skip, when you play a guy that's playing at supreme confidence and at the top of his game, a lot of that you just hope he's off. When Brady was in his apex, in his prime, Skip, you just hope he had an off day just a little bit, like the Super Bowl. You just hope he's off. Or you get Manning, you just hope he's off just a little and it'll give you an opportunity. But if he's on his game, there's nothing you can do.
Well, I don't know. Was he off his game in the Super Bowl? Because that was pedestrian.
But here's the thing. When he was off his game, San Francisco didn't put enough separation. because you know the momentum's going to swing. The momentum in the Super Bowl will swing once, maybe twice. The question is, when the momentum is in your favor, how much distance, how much separation can you put between yourself and the opponent?
Well,
10 points wasn't enough.
They were up 10 points about midway fourth quarter, and it was not enough.
Skip, we've seen New England. Atlanta was up 25, and that wasn't enough.
I got it. Final thought on Lamar. I still believe in Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
But I cannot defend his resume as early as it is to date because he is now 0-3 against Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. He is now, as you pointed out, 0-2 in 2 playoff games, both home losses in which he
didn't play well.
He stunk it up.
It's as simple as that. Okay? He didn't play well.
So he has a lot to prove, but I would not bet against him not proving this. I believe he will prove himself. He just needs more opportunities.
Well, you got your hands full dealing with Kansas City for the next.
Maybe this is another rock, paper, scissors thing where they need somebody else to eliminate. Which happens. It happens.
It happens.
It happened to you guys.
But probably, Skip, what's going to happen is you're going to probably have to go to Kansas City. Now, Kansas City probably won't have the advantage of the crowd noise, so we don't know how many fans they're going to allow. Will it be 10,000?
They had a few in the last
So, last time they had, 13,000?
I think so. So sounded pretty loud.
Maybe as the season progresses, they'll let you get 25, 30. So it's going to be interesting, but you're probably, in the AFC, you're probably going to have to visit Arrowhead to get to your ultimate destination.
You probably are.
No mercy.
Doc Rivers is officially out as the Clippers head coach in what Steve Ballmer called a, quote, mutual decision. While Rivers' 7-year tenure was by far the most successful in team history, LA still fell well short of expectations this year after blowing a 3-1 series lead to the Nuggets in the conference semifinals. So, Shannon, was it the right move or wrong move to fire Doc Rivers?
Skip, someone had to pay for this. This was an epic failure. And when you put 2 superstars together, you mortgage your future. The results need to be immediate. And this is not the results that Steve Ballmer envisioned when he mortgaged his future as far as draft picks. When he signed off on this, Paul, because it was a Doc that says, okay, we got to do this, Steve. We need Kawhi, and he says he will be willing to come if we get him Paul George. So, Skip, someone had to pay for this collapse, and you can't fire all the good players. You can't trade all the good players, although a few will be on the block, Skip. But I'm not surprised. Even though Paul George says, well, we wasn't expecting to win a championship immediately, absolutely. Everybody envisioned that, and Skip, and that's what happens. That's like saying when KD went to the Golden State Warriors, if they don't win it, well, we really wasn't expecting to win a title. Yes, you were. That's why you put that team together. Paul George. Now, Skip Bayless, all that notion, and everybody saying, this is what Paul George didn't want to play with LeBron. Now you see, it became abundantly clear to me in his this playoff season why he wouldn't join the Lakers, because it's going unnoticed. Can you imagine? The Lakers are Broadway. The Clippers are a play at the YMCA. Can you imagine you gagging a line on Broadway as opposed to gagging one at the YMCA? But I'm going to say this. This is fact. This is what we know about the NBA that's different than all the other sports leagues. Superstars running. Doc Rivers is not out that door without the blessing of you-know-who. You know that, and I know that. So I hope Paul George sleep real good at night. I hope Kawhi Leonard sleeps real good at night, knowing they got a man fired that was the most successful coach in Clippers history. That's fact. Let me tell you what else is fact. In a Game 7 in which you were up by 12, Kawhi Leonard shot 1 for 11 in the second half.
He did.
He shot, scored 2 points in the fourth quarter. Oh, my bad. He scored 2 points in the second half. He was over in the fourth quarter. He shot 24% from the floor in the second half of the 4 losses. And he clutched. He clutched. But
what did he shoot in the fourth quarter of Game 6? Help me out. What did Steve, your researcher, give you on that? Game 6, fourth quarter. How about Game 5, fourth quarter?
Could everybody see that at home?
Yeah.
That's an L. That's what he caught. That's what he shot.
We don't want it. We're going to sweep those stats under the carpet over there. They don't work.
Whoa. So
I appreciate the fact that you have elevated Kawhi Leonard into the conversation with LeBron James.
Y'all did that.
You have.
Y'all did that.
You have completely accepted it.
No.
You know, if you had no respect for Kawhi Leonard, you would have just sniffed at this and gone on to the next day. You cannot leave it alone.
No, Skip.
You are so threatened by Kawhi Leonard that you are saying, I want to punish him. I want to drive it home that my guy is a little better than Kawhi Leonard.
Hold on.
My God.
I remember when David Black got fired. Woo. And you came out here and said LeBron James had that happen.
Sure.
Okay, then. I need that kind of energy.
Well, did he not?
Did Kawhi Leonard get Doc Rivers
Did LeBron not fire David Black?
Oh.
Did he?
Hold on, Skip.
I think you said that.
Hold on, time out. You remember when Doc Rivers talked about load management and LeBron said, if I'm healthy, why would I play? And, and Doc Rivers said, their plan over there is whatever LeBron says. Whatever number 2 said, that's what got you fired, Doc.
Because he is on LeBron's level. Definitely.
Hold on.
Because he's got 2 finals MVPs for 2 separate teams also, right?
And gagged.
Yeah.
That might be a worse gag. That's the worst epic gag job for a superstar in the history of the game.
Wait a second. What about the 2011 NBA Finals versus the Dallas Mavericks? Did you see what LeBron did in games 4, 5, and 6?
I did. I saw what
Lord
Kawhi
have mercy.
I saw what Kawhi did in games 5, 6, and 7,
Well,
up 3-1.
At least it wasn't the finals.
Hold on. Think about what you just said. You said the finals. He can't get out the second round. That same team took 2 games off Golden State with a healthy KD.
Yep.
Minus Paul George, minus Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
Paul George and Kawhi Leonard cost Doc Rivers his job. That's fact. Doc had to pay the price because when they put this team together, it was finals or bust. And they bust. They went belly up. So, Uncle Dennis, Kawhi Leonard, and that trainer keep bumping his gums. He called Trez Harrell a double agent. He been saying a lot of stuff, Skip.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Now, he might not say anything. See, Kawhi Leonard's style works really well if you got another leader in that locker room. Kyle Lowry was the leader of Toronto, so that style works. But when you need to galvanize someone, when you need to pull them together, Kawhi Leonard ain't your guy.
That should be the head coach's job.
No.
Yeah.
Hold on. Head coaches don't get no credit for superstars. You never gave Phil Jackson credit. You said it's Mike. You said it's Shaq and Kobe. Now it's Doc Rivers. No, Kawhi got to bear this one. Kawhi got to bear this.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's your turn.
Thank you. Finally. Steve Ballmer is the richest owner in American sports. Nobody in any league anywhere has more money than the 70 billion. 70 billion. Let that sink in with a B that Steve Ballmer has. Steve Ballmer wants results, and he wants them now. And if he goes out and gets Kawhi Leonard and he makes sure that Kawhi goes out and gets Paul George, he wants results now.
Absolutely.
Steve Ballmer believes what I believe from the start. That team would have beaten the Lakers in the conference finals. He knows it. You know it. LeBron knows it. Everybody knows it.
I don't.
Including Steve Ballmer. And he said, I cannot let this one slide. Something went terribly, inexplicably wrong. My team was up 3-1 on the Denver Nuggets. My team was way better than the Nuggets.
No, they weren't.
They showed you how much better they were because in the first closeout game, Game 5, they were up 16. In the second closeout game, Game 6, they were up 19. In the third closeout game, Game 7, they were up 12. They just kept showing you we're this much better, and this much better, and they couldn't seal the deal.
Pressure do that.
No, it's looking ahead to the Lakers. They've been waiting since Game 1, way back in, what was it, October. Game 1 at Staples, in which they just throttled LeBron and AD in the fourth quarter. Throttled them. LeBron James scored a grand total of 2 in the fourth quarter against the Clippers on opening night, and your man AD was all done in the fourth quarter because he went goose egg. He went big 0.
Yeah.
And the Clippers said, we got this. And they came right back on Christmas Day, and Pat Beverly blocked LeBron's tying three-pointer so badly, he knocked it back up out of LeBron's hands. OB, game over.
Yeah.
And I said, the Clippers got this, and trust me, Steve Ballmer, who probably is not exactly a basketball savant, he got pretty carried away and said, we got this. And all of a sudden, he had to sit there in the bubble. Remember, he was in the bubble with them. And he had to sit up there all by his lonesome in a box, stewing and watching a 16-point lead decimate. It's a 19-point lead dissolve. A 12-point lead gone with the
peanut butter sandwiches disappeared.
It's impossibly wrong. And he watched from a distance as Doc, and again, I want to be clear about this. I am the biggest Doc Rivers fan. He's going to get another job, and he's going to do
whatever he wants, whatever job he wants.
That is correct, because he is that good. He's a made man. He has a ring. but somehow his voice got tuned out with the Clippers. This was his 7th season with the Clippers, and he's been very good, but they don't have much to show for it in the postseason.
You know what happened, Skip Bayless? Real talk. Let me tell you what happened, Skip. Is that when he came in there and they let him load management, because before he got there, they had no superstars. Everybody played hard. Everybody bought their lunch pail to work. He came in there not practicing load management. And then Paul George thought he was the equivalent, and he came in there wanting to load management and bull jive and not practice. And the other guys from Lou Will to Trez Harrell looked around and said, what the hell?
Well,
they allowed it.
Okay, remember, half the team didn't want to even go to the bubble. And remember, they voted, as did the Lakers, on that fateful night. Remember that flashpoint night? They voted to leave the bubble. Remember that? And Doc said, I had to sit with them all night long until they finally came back around and said, okay, let's finish it out and play. Remember?
Skip,
after the Kenosha night?
Yes, but Skip, y'all been cheating the process the whole year.
Oh, we're cheating the process? Your guy, AD and LeBron, they say, we don't want to go to shoot-around. They don't even shoot around.
But they play the games.
Yeah.
Your guys won't even play the games.
Well,
your guys, they want to play. And the best thing to happen was this. Because load management should be gone. Because Kawhi Leonard been hanging his hat on load management. You see what he did in Toronto? He load management. The only thing matters, Shannon, to Kawhi is playoffs. How about that?
How many did he load manage during the playoffs this year? Help me out.
No.
Zero.
I said the regular season.
Zero.
I don't know it. Skip, how you load manage the playoffs? You can't.
Well,
you play them every day.
You could.
But see, the problem was, Skip, every time you lose, you had an excuse. Oh, he load management. And Paul George wasn't there. And Pat Bev wasn't there. And once they get all these guys back, everything's going to be free-flowing. They have yet to lose a game when they get all their big three. You're cheating the process. Skip, you can't cheat the process. You hear my guy, Go James, talk about the process. He said, I never shortchange the process.
Well, remember, this was their first year together.
It was AD and LeBron's first year together.
Okay, but all the other Lakers were mostly there.
Not Danny Green.
Okay, a lot of them were there. At least LeBron had some chemistry with the rest of the team. These guys were brand new, and they played, what was it, only 32 games together?
Okay, Pat Bev, he was there last year. What about Trez Harrell?
Well, all those guys were there.
Okay,
the two superstars were both new. Was LeBron there last year?
LeBron was.
Oh, wait, I forgot.
What about AD?
Wait a second. LeBron was there last year.
What about AD?
And they missed the playoffs?
What about AD?
How did they miss the playoffs with the GOAT?
So, hold on.
Wait, LeBron went 28-27 a year ago?
He went 28-27.
And there was a low-light tape that we used to show?
28-27 to the NBA Finals. Like George, we're moving on up like George Jefferson.
Really?
He moved on up to a penthouse, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
LeBron moved up from a blooper tape last year? A blooper tape.
Skip, let that sink in.
Wow.
Without Paul George, without Kawhi Leonard, the Clippers took 2 games from Golden State with a healthy KD. That's what they did. With Paul George, with Kawhi, they gagged 3 straight games. Your guy gagged. Skip, call it like you see it. That's one thing I love about you. You call it like you see it.
I didn't think my guy gagged.
What?
How about George Paul?
No!
Yeah, how about him?
Hold on, Skip.
And by the way, just to be fair about this, I called this on the air repeatedly. I said it's time for Doc to do something drastic here. Did you see one strategic change? Did you see a lineup change? Did you see some strategic change during the game? Did they go to zone? Did they go to this? Did they do this? Did they double? Did they figure out a new offensive plan? Because Kawhi was getting doubled every time down the floor, and they had no counterpunch to it. It's like, Kawhi, you just do it. Beat the double team and get somebody a shot.
Even when it happened, I told you, I said, Skip, Paul George don't want that pressure of playing next to Go James. Very few. Kyrie welcomed it. D-Wade welcomed it. Paul George went back to OKC because it's not the same playing next to Russ in that small market as it is to LeBron in this big market. He went to the Clippers because playing next to Kawhi for the Clippers is not the same as playing with Go James. And he gagged it, Skip. You saw him gag.
He didn't want to play next to LeBron when for years he played next to Duncan and Parker and Ginobili.
No, Skip. I'm saying Paul George.
Oh, I thought you meant Kawhi.
No. He wanted to play next to him.
I agree. George Paul wanted no part of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He didn't want to play next to LeBron. Huh? The guy that's so unselfish, the guy that's just, AD, is you, we gonna feed you. How many times, Skip, what was that game? I think it was the fourth game, Skip, when they come out and AD take the first 5, 6 shots. He ain't even looking to get his shot. Just giving it to AD.
Yep.
And you don't want to play next to that? You don't want that pressure because you know what that come with.
So I'm going to assume that Doc Rivers, even as we speak, has his choice between the Sixers and the Pelicans. The Pelicans would be a lot of fun, but it'd be a long-term commitment because it's going to take a while. And I don't know, to your point, your constant point on this show, I don't know if Zion can stay healthy.
Right.
To me, the two nuclear weapons are sitting there in Philadelphia, and they don't know how to detonate. They don't know how to win. If Doc took Embiid and Ben Simmons, I believe he could mold them he could show them the way out of the doldrums that they always fall into in the playoffs. I believe he could go win the East in Philadelphia. I would hope he takes that job.
Well, he's gonna need to help Ben Simmons develop a jump shot,
okay.
And he's gonna have to get Joel Embiid butt in shape.
I totally agree. And both of them need to be jump-started emotionally because they just don't play hard enough on a nightly basis.
No, the effort that.
If I could pour Bam in Embiid, Lord have mercy.
I don't want no part of that.
It would be
Man, that dude average 40 and 20. He'd be the modern-day Wilt.
He would. I totally agree. Okay, well, maybe Doc could pour a little bit in there.
You need to pour something. But no. All I want to know, y'all cost Doc his job. Kawhi and Paul George. Hey, trainer, hold on, Skip. You remember he tweeted? So one guy was in the lab? I ain't heard him tweet nothing about the guy in the lab shooting 24% in the second half.
Well,
is he still, what was his name, Skip?
His name is Kawhi Leonard. And if he had gotten into the lab with LeBron James, you would have been done.
My guy in the lab.
You would have been
My
done.
guy in the lab. My guy in the finals lab.
Yeah, your guy just had...
Your guy flunked the class.
Your guy had the easiest path to a ring in the history of rings.
Hold on, Skip.
Yep.
You told me at the beginning of the season this is going to be his most difficult because he's in the West and he has to go through the Clippers that's in the basement.
Well, if the Clippers had been sitting there in the finals, you better believe
Skip, you get to advance if you pass the classes. You don't get to move to the next grade by failing classes. They failed the Nuggets test.
So let me announce this to my followers out there. The Clippers lost to the Nuggets. Just for Shannon Sharpe, I want to get this very clear. I believe, I'm pretty sure the Clippers lost to the Nuggets. I just want that on the record. The Clippers lost to the Nuggets.
They choked. Okay. Don't say just lost.
Because I got to throw him a bone here because it's the only bone he's ever had on this show.
I will get it back.
Thank you.
I will get my cases.
Yeah.
We got 5 cases on this.
Yeah.
You acknowledged it. You moved on, and Doc.
That's so
lost
easy,
his
Jenny.
job
Don't let it move on so easy.
I agree. Kawhi shouldn't really sleep well at night.
He think he's slick. He's trying to take the venom out of my poison.
I want to go back to the NFL guys. The 0-3 Texans are reportedly bringing Earl Thomas in for a workout this week, and the team is likely to sign the Pro Bowl safety for the rest of the season. Thomas hasn't played this year since being cut by Baltimore in August after an altercation with a teammate during practice. Thomas has long been connected to the Dallas Cowboys, who have had their own struggles in the secondary, but in the end, it looks like he'll be playing for the other Texas team instead. And Skip, I got to get your immediate reaction to this. What did you make of it when you heard Earl is expected to sign with Houston?
Having a bad stretch.
Yeah, you are.
It just made me sick. I glanced at my phone yesterday. I was talking to my wife, Ernestine, and I saw the headline, sources say, Earl Thomas to Texans. And I said, oh. And she said, what's wrong? I said, Earl Thomas. She said, who? I said, Earl Thomas. She said, I thought something was really wrong. It is really wrong. On back-to-back day and night, I had to watch 2 teams really miss Earl Thomas. The first was my Dallas Cowboys back in his old stomping grounds in Seattle. He would have changed that game. I believe you know that he would have changed that game. He would have made 1 or 2 plays that would have saved the day and put Dallas in position to steal that game at Seattle. I believe that last night, if he had still been a Raven, he would have made a play or 2 that would have saved that game from getting out of hand the way it did. I believe that he would have made a play on one of those 2 deep balls. I don't know exactly how strategically, but you know and I know he just has one of the all-time noses for the football. And all I know for sure is that he grew up in the state of Texas, albeit in South Texas, in Orange, wanting badly to be a Dallas Cowboy. So badly, he chased Jason Garrett up the walkway to the locker room in 2017. Come and get me. He went to the University of Texas, where he was obviously an All-American. He was the 14th overall pick in the draft and went to the Legion of Boom, and he made 6 Pro Bowls. He went to Baltimore, and he made another Pro Bowl just last year. And he's only 31, which is not too old at that position. I get it. He wore out his welcome so badly in Seattle, they finally just cut him. I get it that last year it got so bad. He became so uncoachable. He became so unmanageable in Baltimore that they finally said, that's enough, and they cut him. And I get it. He has stayed on the market for about 3 weeks now. Cam Newton was on the market for about 3 months, right?
Yeah.
It happens because people have questions. This was almost too good to be true. I have campaigned for my team to go get him for 2 years. And at first, it was going to be very costly. It might have taken a first-round pick. At one point, it was going to be a second-round pick, and then it got switched to a first-round pick. But the point was, all of a sudden, it was a no-round pick. It's for nothing. You can just sign him to the veteran minimum with some incentives because he would love to finish his career with the Dallas Cowboys. He was the last piece to a potential Super Bowl puzzle in Dallas because they have 2 good kids at safety, but they're just guys.
Right.
Xavier Woods and Darian Thompson, they're just guys. Earl Thomas is a difference maker. He is a game changer. He's a ball hawk. He's a free safety who makes plays and changes games. And I just believe he would have changed the one Sunday, and I believe he would have raised the level of the whole defense. They don't have an Earl Thomas on the defense. There's not one guy Shannon Sharpe fears on that defense except maybe Aldon Smith because he's coming back to life.
I think the thing is, Skip, is that you're right. He used to be a difference maker. But the thing that he could do is because before the injury started robbing him of some of his ability is that he could take chances. And because he had that speed, he could make up for it. Well, he's still taking those chances, and he doesn't have recoverability, and it's harming his team. That's what got him in trouble.
But I remind you, he did, maybe it's just on reputation, but he made the Pro Bowl last year.
Well, Skip, when you go 14-2 and your defense is ranked very high,
something's right.
You're going to get a lot of guys going to the Pro Bowl. Skip, I don't think the Cowboys are making a mistake. I think Bill O'Brien realized he's on the hot seat, and he's trying to cover up from that horrible trade that he made giving up DeAndre Hopkins for a second-round pick and David Johnson. So he has to take these chances. Skip, he's on the hot seat. They're over. He has no choice but to do this. For the Cowboys, Skip, and here's the thing. Earl played in Seattle system for a number of years. Skip, they don't really disguise. They line up in the coverage. They play single high safety. They play single high safety lurk, or what we call robber coverage.
They were just too talented to disguise. They didn't need to.
But now, Skip, people disguise. I know Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan was the linebackers coach with me when I got to Denver. So I know him. I know his system. He likes to do a lot of disguising. And so for Earl, that's going to be a problem because he wants to line up, be where he wants to be, and then play football.
It's hard to disguise a lack of talent.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and see, Skip, the thing is that talking to Rod Wilson, a very good friend of mine, we played together at Baltimore. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
We've had him on the show a lot.
Yeah. Skip, the thing is, he's like, as I got older, I couldn't take the chances that I could when I was younger because I can't make up for that. So now I have to study tape, be where I'm supposed to be, and make those plays. Earl was getting himself in trouble, Skip, and that's the thing that you have to do. You have to come to grips with yourself. I'm not the player in year 10 that I was in year 5. I'm not the player in year 3 that in year 11 that I was in year 8. And Earl hasn't come to grips with that. You can't play the same way, Skip. You just can't because he doesn't. The knee injury and the injuries have robbed him of some of his speed. So you can't take those unnecessary risks because now, Skip, you put the defense in harm's way. And then everybody looking like, well, what happened? Now, see, if you don't know better, Skip, you think the safety blew that coverage last night. But you and I both know, having been around the game, I played it. I know Marcus Peters was supposed to be deep third, and he jumped the dagger route, trying to get him a cheap pick and get him back in the game.
Okay, but some nights Marcus Peters is a star.
Yeah.
If he guesses right,
yes,
he will hurt you.
But everybody is not going to be able to read it like Mahomes. He'll get somebody.
I got it. The problem with my Cowboys is we don't have Marcus Peters at one corner or Marlon Humphrey at the other. Those are really good players.
Yes.
I know Marcus has got some issues going on, and he'll clue and blow it. But still, Earl did benefit from that because he had two star corners,
you
like
can
Pro Bowl corners.
Yes, Skip. See, here's the thing.
Yep.
When you got Cam and you got Sharpe, you can take some chances. Because you got guys that can cover for you.
Yep.
But if you don't have those guys and you taking chances, now you really putting the defense in harm's way. So if you take those chances with the Cowboys and you don't have a Sherman or you don't have a Brandon Browner or Cam Chancellor, Skip, it's going to really look ugly.
Sunday, I had Brandon Carr. Remember Brandon used Carr?
He was
out there. He was out there on the defense.
He was.
Up off the practice squad.
So now you could be 40 years old on the practice squad.
Okay. But here's my point about Earl Thomas. Unless you tell me he's completely washed up, which I do not believe, I get what you, no, he's not, because he had some terrible injuries.
Yeah, because didn't he hurt his knee or something? When he flipped Pete Carroll off, he hurt something.
He wrecked his ACL.
Okay, that's what. Okay,
Then he had a broken leg.
Yes, right.
He had some career-threatening injury
against Arizona when they brought him on the card. He flipped Pete off.
But clearly, he was still mobile enough last year. He somehow convinced other players to vote him into the Pro Bowl.
Yes.
All I know is I needed a made man on my defense just for his presence alone. Just where you're in the defensive huddle or you're on the sideline and you look around and think, we got Earl and they don't have Earl.
Skip,
okay?
You might be willing to do that if a guy's going to take some chances if he's good in the locker room. Skip, you're going to blow my defense and you're going to be a jackleg in the locker room?
Okay, but what has happened to Cam Newton in New England? Sometimes he was difficult in Carolina, and now he's on not his best behavior, he's on his greatest behavior.
Skip,
because he knows, he even said yesterday, I know this is my last shot here. I know if I screw this up, I might stay on the market forever. Right?
But see, Skip, for me, I don't think Cam, there was the perception that Cam has always done things his way. He said what he said. He dressed how he dressed. Okay. So I don't think Cam was a problem in the locker room because if you look, everybody gets along with Cam. I mean, in New England, Skip, they love him. Well, he got everybody dancing in practice.
Because he's turned on the charm, man. Because he got 1,000 watts of charm.
Yes.
And he's turned it all on in New England because he knows he got so disrespected on the open market. Well, I'm just saying Earl might just swallow all that pride and say, okay, this is it. Last hurrah, Dallas Cowboys. Let me try to be a leader for this defense.
Skip.
I don't even know why I'm talking about it because it's done.
Yeah. Skip, how am I going to be late? And we got a meeting.
Okay,
and you say, Shannon, why you late? Man, I had to wash my car, Skip.
Okay, but
how many times, Skip, at some point in time, you go like, you know what?
That's him saying, I'm Earl Thomas, I'm a 7-time Pro Bowler, and I can do whatever the hell I want to do.
You're going to be late for practice. You're going to be late for meetings because you get your car washed.
I got it. But it was worth a shot. This is my final thought on this, that I believe that yesterday, while I was looking at my phone saying, oh, I believe Shannon Sharpe was looking at his phone saying, yeah. Because he was the one guy you would have feared on my defense.
I like good. Skip, given the NFC East as it's constructed currently, really, Skip Bayless?
We are going to win it.
We
are going to be in the playoffs.
Eight wins will probably win that division.
Okay, well, maybe that's what it'll take, and maybe we'll go 8-8, and maybe we'll be in the playoffs with a home game.
I'm counting on Mahomes walking to him to get that thing right.
Well, I'm counting on Jalen Hurts to get it right. We're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Stop.
No mercy. February, GQ writer and huge LeBron fan, Mark Anthony Green, came on the show and made a bet with Skip that if LeBron made the finals, then Skip would be forced to say 10 positive things about LeBron here on Undisputed. And now that we're just a little over 24 hours away from Game 1, the time has come. Skip, the floor is yours. It's time to say some positive things about LeBron. I'm really looking forward to this.
Mean it. Not no bull jive. Not no bull jive. Mean it.
First, I would like to publicly thank the Los Angeles Clippers for doing this to me. And yet, before I launch into my 10 nice things about LeBron James, and I ask you to feel free to chime in, even though people think I hate LeBron, and I hate the word hate because I do not hate LeBron
No, you
James.
don't hate LeBron. You just hate her.
All of the things I'm about to say, I have said multiple times on this show and on other shows I have been on through my career.
Okay.
Number one, LeBron James was the greatest high school basketball player ever, even greater than Lou Alcindor at Power Memorial in New York City. And for those who don't know, he then became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he is regarded as the greatest, most dominant high school basketball player ever. LeBron was better because LeBron could pass it and dominantly score the basketball. Any issues with that?
I'm going to go with Kareem, but okay.
Oh, you won't even back your guy on this? Well, I'm trying to be nice here, right?
Well, you got to give me something that I can sink my teeth into.
Number two, no player in the history of the National Basketball Association has stood up better to an NBA debut expectation the way LeBron James did at Sacramento the night of October 29th, 2003. I watched every dribble of it because I was fascinated, because on his back was tattooed, as we often talk, the chosen one. Sports Illustrated had crowned him the king before he even arrived in the league. And that night at Sacramento, that's the weight of the world on that young man's shoulders. At age 18, he scored 25 points with 6 rebounds and 9, count them, 9 assists. Now, he was 0 for 2 from 3 and 1 for 3 from the free throw line, but he went 12 of 20 from the field. And as soon as that game ended, I sat back and said, a star is born, because you never know exactly how a young man at 18 will deal with NBA, you know, like grown-up kind of pressure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so highly impressive. I think you can have no quibble with anything.
Okay, yeah, that was a great, outstanding game.
Outstanding. Number three, since LeBron James has entered the NBA, he has been the best passer in basketball, and he remains to this moment the best passer in basketball. I've only said that on this show 1,000 times.
You spell player wrong. You said passer, but you spelled it wrong. P-L-A-Y-E-R, not P-A-S-S-E-R. Player, not passer, both.
Well, it's one little thing that I'm pointing out that he is the very best at.
At playing, yes. Game of basketball. Okay, go ahead.
Number four, LeBron James, as I've said 10,000 times on the show, is still the greatest driver of the basketball I have ever seen. A 6'9", 260-pound freight train to the rim. Never seen anything like it before.
Yeah.
Fair enough?
Yeah.
Number five, no athlete has ever been a more consistently powerful speaker on race or social justice topics. Nobody is in this man's league when it comes to the power of his platforms that he has created and maintained. Nobody has taken more advantage of those platforms in the history of sports. Thank you very much. Number six, LeBron stood up to pressure I don't believe any NBA player has ever faced or felt. In Game 6 at Boston in 2012, now, this is because he had suffered some epic failures against Orlando in 2009, against Boston in 2010 before he left Cleveland, and then in his first go-around with the Heat in the finals against Dallas in 2011. That set up what was happening against Boston, this in the conference finals in 2012.
Yes.
They went up 2-0. They lost 3 straight games. Game 6 is in Boston. And trust me, I knew a bunch of people at ESPN who said, we got to drive over and see this, because even the staunchest LeBron defenders and apologists were starting to doubt if he was made of the right stuff. Okay. And they went over on that night to watch what was about to transpire. The Heat won that game by 19 points because LeBron dominated from start to finish with 45 points, 15 rebounds, and only 5 assists. But let's just keep it at 45 and 15. Wait, 45 and 15 rebounds?
Yeah.
That was in most people's eyes, the greatest game he ever played, facing the most pressure he'd ever faced.
Well, Skip, the reason why he only had 5 assists is because he was not in passing mode.
He just shot.
I'm in attack mode.
Okay. 45 and 15.
Yes.
Then they went home for Game 7 and just rolled.
31 and 12 for him.
You got it. Fair enough?
Yep.
Point number 7. I love the humility that LeBron James displayed moments after he finally broke through and won his first ring in Game 5 in Miami against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He said live on ABC right after the game, "It's about damn time."
Yeah.
And that was a perfectly beautiful way to put that, because I sat back and said, yep, you're right. He did that. He was the finals MVP, and they won in 5 games. You give me that one?
I'll give you that one.
Okay, good. Number 8, in 2013, LeBron James played a great Game 7 against my Spurs. 37, 12, 4, and 2 steals. That was a great Game 7 against what was left of my Spurs. Fair enough?
Yep.
Okay, I'm giving you that. It's a really nice thing for me to say. Number 9, LeBron James is the most durable superstar ever. I've said that 100,000 times on this show. He is Iron Man. The only other athlete who rivals the dedication that LeBron pays and puts into his fitness routine is Tom Brady. But the irony of what I just said is that LeBron plays much more of a contact sport than Tom Brady plays. Am I right about that?
He does.
LeBron takes way more contact than Brady, sort of puts himself in harm's way to take in football, because he's just going to get rid of the football, right? He's not going to run with it. He's rarely going to be hit.
And plus the rules have been implemented to protect him.
That is correct. Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
Iron Man. Number 10, LeBron James should have been the regular season MVP this season. I said it, 19 times on this show, and I will say it one more time. He deserved the MVP. He was better in the regular season than even Giannis was, and the narrative was better because he did bounce back off a lackluster first go-around with the Lakers. Fair enough?
Fair enough, Skip, but there was a lot of generalities in there, a lot of generic compliments. I didn't hear anything about clutchness, which he is. For number 4.
Well, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah,
I can't lie nice things.
You can. And I don't know. I mean, I might go towards Muhammad Ali using his platform, Jackie Robinson, but maybe they didn't have the reach.
The reach.
Because obviously no social media.
Okay, but even Muhammad in his day, I don't think he spoke out as much as LeBron has consistently over his whole career. Once Muhammad lost his job, they wouldn't let him fight anymore. Yes.
Well, I don't think he was like, okay, I'm gonna do what I have to do and live in America. Although I see things going on, when they he changed his name because he no longer wanted to be identified by he says that's his slave master's name. And he started to speak out when he saw hold on, y'all trying to send me over there to kill them, and y'all right here in America killing us. Nah, I'm good. The Viet Congs ain't never called me the N-word. They don't turn no dogs on me. They don't stick no water cannons on me.
I got no quarrel with them Viet Cong.
Got none. Skip, look, you could have just put this in a nice little nutshell. I could have saved you probably 7 minutes. All you had to do was say, LeBron James, the greatest basketball player ever. Boom, we'd been done.
Well, I'm not going to tell a lie, because he's clearly not.
He is.
But I will give you a bonus nice point, number 11. LeBron James is truly a nice guy. I'm going to give you that.
No, I don't want that, Skip.
That's it.
Skip, we don't want
Period, end of story. I paid my debt. It's over. Now back to business.
Yeah. The fact of the matter is that you refuse to give the man the due that he deserves.
What does he deserve? He's 3-6 in the finals.
Hold on.
I just paid off my bet. What do you want?
If you're not Sam Jones, if you're not LeBron James, if you're not Kareem, if you're not Russell, you don't know what it's like to go to 10 finals. So if it was so easy, if it's so easy to get to the finals out of the East, why haven't more players gone to the NBA finals?
Well, he was just born at the right time. He was born into a cakewalk of an East.
Don't do that, Skip.
And he did it. Way to go.
Skip.
And he's right now on the easiest path to a ring in the history of paths.
That's not what you said at the beginning of the season. You said if he wins this would be his most difficult because he was going to have to go through the Clippers, and he was going to have to deal with the Nuggets, and he was going to have to deal with James Harden and Russ.
Did he have to go through the Clippers?
They're in the West.
No.
Hold on, Skip Bayless, wait a minute.
Did he have to go through Kevin Durant and Kyrie? No.
Hold on, time out. So let me get this right. So the way you want to play after work now for LeBron James is that he got to beat the Clippers, even though they get knocked out. He needs to come over there and play the Nets, even though Kevin Durant, he needs to play all the top teams. That's not how it works.
When the bubble began, what did the odds makers say? Who was favored to win it all?
The
Clippers were favored to win the whole thing.
Okay then.
Right?
Okay then. So what happened? Y'all had the same, hold on. Y'all make it seem like the Clippers went to the bubble and we got to stay in L.A. and then we just traveled to and from the games. No, we were in the bubble under the same conditions, under the same confinements, just like the Clippers. One team gagged, the other team didn't. We're the superstar.
One team looked ahead to the Lakers and the other team was the Lakers.
Skip, what you looking ahead for?
Way to go.
What you looking ahead for? What have the Clippers done to look ahead with that history? With the history of being losers, what are they looking ahead for?
Kawhi Leonard has 2 Finals MVPs.
Where did he get those?
He has history on his side.
Did he get them at the Clippers?
No.
Hold on, my guy got 3. My guy had gone to 9. So what you mean?
I have already congratulated your guy on winning his 4th ring in 10 tries.
We don't want no
4
congratulations.
and 6. It's over. It's done.
We don't want that. We don't want that.
Lakers in 5.
And I'm sure I won't get a call today. And some people going to be telling me, Shannon, that was a lot of generalities, generics. And I'm like, you're absolutely correct.
Generalities?
So, yes, generic. Oh, he was all-time clutch. You going to talk about he was clutch in Game 7 after you say he gagged and and choked in Game 6.
Well, he did.
No, he didn't.
I didn't bring that up. Yeah. You did.
But the fact of the matter...
He missed the shot. He missed the time shot. He LeBricked it off the back iron.
The difference between my guy and the guy that you call the best player in Kawhi, he had a lead. Your guy had lead going into 4.
I don't care about Kawhi. I only care about Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Hold on.
Case closed. Next, Jenny.
Yeah, next.
So why didn't Michael go to 10
I paid my debt.
Why didn't Michael go to finals 10 times?
Curious, Skip, how long did it take you to put that list?
He played 15 years.
He would have gone 10 straight if he hadn't taken a hiatus.
No. Don't do that, Skip. Don't do that. There ain't no force. Ain't no force.
Paying off debts around here. You know, you got to get it done. Undisputed. You know,
ain't no debt.
When you say it on air, you got to pay it off.
No mercy.
Cam Newton is enjoying a career resurgence in New England as the former MVP has the Patriots at 2-1 and looking more and more like a playoff team. Newton was on a Boston area radio show yesterday and talked about how he's been fueled by his doubters this season. Cam said, the fact that here I am, year 10, still having to explain the person and the player that I am, it's sometimes disrespectful because we don't question certain quarterbacks. We don't have to question Russell Wilson. We don't have to question Tom Brady. I hate to name drop, but it's just gotten to that point. Shannon, does Cam have a point?
He does. But Skip, there's a perception of how the quarterback position is supposed to talk, how he's supposed to act, how he's supposed to dress. That's just the way that's kept. I'm not saying that's right. So I don't want people to say, well, Shannon, you said, no, I'm not saying it's right. But there is that perception. Russell Wilson is bought into that. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, all the guys that he could possibly be thinking of and mentioning, they brought into that. Cam says, I'm going to talk how I talk. I'm going to act how I act. I'm going to dress how I dress. And you're going to like it or you're not going to like it. And with that came the criticism. He the one that came with the outfits, the Dolce & Gabbana and the Versace and the custom-made brims. He did that. And people like, man, look at Cam. That's not quarterback. Peyton Manning would never. See? Because that's what the expectation was. Peyton Manning dressed like John Elway and Dan Marino, and he dressed like Roger Staubach and the quarterbacks that came before them. So with Cam doing the way he did, Cam dancing, man, you ain't never seen Drew Brees or Tom Brady out there dancing, have you? You see, there's an expectation of how a quarterback is supposed to act. And if you don't act like that, Skip, we need to know what's going on. The mere fact that they even asked Cam, why your family hadn't come out here? Why does that matter? Why you asking about why is the family not there? So Cam Newton is the only player in the Patriots locker room that family is not out there with them. No, probably not. Probably not.
I loved his answer.
Yeah.
He said it's a business trip.
He should have said none of your business. Is your wife here with you? Your wife? Okay, then. Don't worry about me. Skip. And he's right. After 10 years, they should know this is who Cam is.
I think they actually want to know, do you want to stay here or not?
That's not his call. That's Bill Belichick's call. And Coach Belichick...
But I think it's asked in a positive vein, like, will you commit to us? You know, are you going to stay with us?
Tom Brady wanted to stay with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Coach Belichick had other things. Cam might want to stay, but Coach Belichick, he answered it the right way. Because Coach Belichick is at anything that's not pertaining to the game. How does you stay and help us get ready for to play? Who they play? Kansas City? Don't they play Kansas City?
At
Kansas City.
Yep.
How does you stay in here next year, help us beat Kansas City this weekend? So he answered it the right way. Cam is getting very smart. Cam's like, this is a business. I'm doing what I need to do in order to win ball games. Skip, for me, this is simple. The expectation of how a quarterback is supposed to look, how he's supposed to talk, how he's supposed to dress. Cam has shattered that myth, and people still have a problem with that. They think Cam is a problem because he dressed the way he dressed. They think Cam is a problem in the locker room because he's always having fun. He's very outgoing, and that could be furthest from the truth. That should have no bearing on how Cam is perceived, but perception is a person's reality.
Okay. So help me out here.
Yes.
Are you viewing this in any way, shape, or form in sort of a racial perspective, a black-white perspective?
I'm skeptical because they never ask Brady. They ask black players things that they never ask white players, and I just need to know why.
So I didn't even look this up, so I hope I say it correctly, but remember there was the Bleacher Report back in 2014 during the...
When they say Cam was fake?
No. It was about Seattle.
Oh, Russell wasn't black enough.
Yes, correct?
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes.
So I couldn't remember how it was phrased.
Yes.
He wasn't black enough. So is that operating in here, in your view?
Your Cam might be too black.
Okay.
Because remember,
I
said Russell has bought in. When they said Russell is not black enough, some of his teammates believed that he wasn't black enough.
Okay.
So he's been what for the longest time, it was white quarterbacks only that played that position. He played the position. That's the way. Cam's like, I'm going to do it my way.
So we're saying that some white people in the media and some white decision makers in the National Football League think that Cam is, quote unquote, too black to be a quarterback, right?
Yes.
Right? Okay, that's the sort of the inference.
Yes.
Okay, I got that. And I do not disagree with that perception that is operating sort of under the surface.
Even some fans.
Some fans.
Why do they got to do why do you got to dance? Why do you have to dress like that?
Yeah.
And y'all make it seem like the man came naked or came with a thong on. He got on clothes. That's his personality. Most people dress to their personality, Skip. That's Cam's personality.
Totally.
Tom Brady dresses the way he's in Tom Ford or whatever he wears. That's his personality.
I got it. Okay, what have I always said about Cam Newton? What I have loved and defended about him is that even though he had a little bit of a rocky start to his career competing with Tebow for the job at the University of Florida, he went to Blinn Junior College and he won the national championship.
Yeah.
He went to Auburn and he won the whole national championship and the Heisman.
And a Heisman.
Can't do much better than that, right? First overall pick, and backed it up fairly quickly with an MVP in 2015 and a Super Bowl appearance. We know he didn't play very well, but I defend him on that. I just thought Denver's defense was too good.
They were outstanding.
Outstanding, starting with wasn't he the MVP, Von Miller?
Yeah, Von Miller, with Super Bowl MVP.
Okay.
But Skip, if you look at the 2 weeks before, look what they did to Brady. They did Brady just like, and to Brady's credit, he was a throwaway from tying the ball game.
He was a throwaway.
But man, they were on him all day, just like Cam.
I think it took him the whole offseason to heal, both physically and psychologically, from the beating he took.
And he had Gronk. Now, Cam didn't have a Gronk that could take some of the pressure off, and they had a time dealing with Gronk.
They had a Greg Olsen.
Right.
Pretty good. But, okay, now, here's the only flaw in this perspective. Russell Wilson has consistently performed at a very high level.
Right.
Obviously, Tom Brady has consistently performed at a very high level, to the point people say, you're the GOAT, you're the best ever. Okay, Cam had a rocky 4 years after the MVP season. And you can explain it 1,000 ways. Number one point being, it's a valid excuse, he just got hurt, man. He was just beat all to hell. because he ran the ball too much. As I said, he, quote-unquote, died for their cause.
Right.
He took too much punishment. He dished a lot of punishment out. But as you know, you keep doing that, you're just not going to last.
Yeah.
And he had all kinds of shoulders. I think he had 2 shoulder surgeries. And he had the Liz Frank injury to his foot. It's just too hard.
Right.
Okay, so 2016, 17, 18, and 19, his starting record was 23-23. Well, that's one reason people discounted him. That's one reason he stayed on the market for, it was like right at 3 months before Belichick finally said, I'll take that.
But for me, Skip, okay, if you want to say his play, but it's not his appearance.
No.
His record ain't happened because he was dressing like this.
No,
his
what
record
I'm
is not because he's dead. Oh, I know that's
I
what
think a lot of people are just sitting back saying, well, gee, we doubted because you weren't the MVP anymore.
Right.
You didn't play up to that level.
Right.
And we don't question Russell or Brady because they just keep on keeping on.
Right.
And Russell's, I don't know if anybody's ever played better for the first.
But they never questioned Russell and Brady like they questioned him. Even when he was winning.
Off the field.
Even though when he was winning, it was like, Cam, what are you wearing? Why are you dressed like that? Well, Cam, why are you doing this? Well, it was always, well, Cam got a towel on his head, he's soaking. Well, see, the thing is with Cam, if Cam did something, he's not a great teammate. Brady does the exact same thing. That's him being a great teammate. He has passion.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
I agree.
And so that's what Cam is saying. Cam said, hold on, 1 minute. If one guy does something, he's a bad teammate. If the other guy does something, that's passion. And Cam's like, no, me dressing has nothing to do whether or not I'm a good or bad quarterback.
Yep.
The way I'm interacting with my teammates, I'm dancing, I'm having a good time in practice. If we lose a game, it wasn't because I was dancing. Even coaches has convinced us, Skip, we lose a ball game, it was because we were sitting on our helmet at practice. We sat on our helmets last week when we won. And you didn't say a word. Or, man, y'all need to clean this locker room up. That's why we're not winning the game. What the hell the locker room got? They didn't know we got a messy locker room. And so coaches and people start to believe that if you lose, there was a correlation between a messy locker room, sitting on your helmet, or the way Cam came to an interview. And coaches have convinced, like, you know what? Man, Skip, I get in there, I start picking up tape, and I start cleaning up.
I got it.
That might have some, it ain't got nothing to do with it.
Okay, so LeBron made a statement, I think it was 2 days ago, about his career.
Yeah.
And he referred to the Frank Sinatra song, I Did It My Way.
Right.
Well, yeah, LeBron did it his way, but he didn't do it his way like Cam is doing it his way.
Right.
It took guts for Cam to say, I'm going to be completely me. This is the way I was in high school, and at Florida, and at Blinn, and at Auburn.
Right.
I'm going to keep on doing this.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Take me or leave me. The way our society works is if you back it up, if you perform at the highest level, everybody shrugs.
Yeah.
Right?
So I agree. I agree with Cam. Cam is like, look, this is a business trip for me.
Yep.
I'm here. That's what coaches always say. This is a business trip. Don't be going shopping. Don't be going to the mall. You're not here to go visit friends they haven't seen in 10 years. We're here to win a football game, get on the plane, and go back home. Cam says, look, I don't know how long I'm going to be here.
He did.
So it might be a business trip, Skip. It might be the weekend. It might be for the next 6 months. But I'm going to do the best I possibly can. And then after the end of the season, we'll have a discussion and see, am I here or am I going picking my bags and going elsewhere?
How great is it to have Cam Newton with that kind of motivation?
Oh, yeah, he's very motivated. I mean, you know, I guess Chicago could have used Cam.
No, they got Nick Foles. They're fine.
Okay. Nick
Just
Foles.
keeps on keeping on, right? I personally love Cam's style, just for the record.
Yes.
I love seeing what he's going to wear every Sunday. It's just fun. I love the personality behind it.
No mercy.
The defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs stayed undefeated last night after beating the Ravens 34-20. Patrick Mahomes looked like his usual self with an efficient 385 passing yards and 5 total touchdowns, but the KC defense was the big surprise last night, keeping the Baltimore offense out of the end zone until early in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson, who finished with only 97 passing yards, is now 0-3 against the Chiefs, and afterward even admitted that he looks at Kansas City as, quote, kryptonite. Super Bowl champ and Fox Sports college football analyst Reggie Bush joining us this morning. Reggie, good morning. What was your biggest takeaway from last night?
My biggest takeaway is that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, and Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. And we need to revisit that NFL Top 100 list that had him ranked as the number 4 best player in the NFL. I still don't understand that list to save my life. And Patrick Mahomes just showed us the gap last night. He showed us the gap between him and Lamar Jackson. I love Lamar Jackson. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's explosive as an athlete, and he's broken down some of those barriers week in and week out. But Patrick Mahomes is just different, and he showed us that last night at almost every play. I mean, he had the pump fakes going. He throws one of the best deep balls. To me, it's they have a shot to win the Super Bowl again, go back to back. Especially with the way their defense is playing. Their defense really harassed Lamar Jackson all night long last night. It really made it tough for him to push the football down the field. 97 yards passing is not going to get it done against the Kansas City Chiefs. And then at the end of and then on top of that, they got Andy Reid and they got Eric Bieniemy calling plays. Nothing but innovation. They're throwing touchdowns to tackles and fullbacks. Like, how do you defend that as a defensive coordinator? That's almost impossible to stop.
I agree with you, Reggie. I agree with everything you just said. I believe he's the best football player in the game. He's the best quarterback. And if you said, okay, I'm going to give you one quarterback to go win a game with tomorrow, who you taking? I'm taking my homeboy. 5 years from now, I'm taking him because he has no weakness. He can he can change arm angles. He can throw from the pocket. You put him on the move. He can still throw with accuracy on the move. He's the few guys that can throw the ball 50 yards on his back foot. And you saw that last night. When you allow a quarterback to go pick up, went 9 for 10 throwing the ball on third down. They were 10 of 13, so he threw for 9 first downs. He ran for another one. 10 of 13 on third down, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the blitz, he ate the blitz up, 7 of 9, 114 on the touchdown. You see, we got some video of him pump faking and getting out of the pocket on the move and throwing the ball sidearm across his body to Mecole Hardman. This is just too good. Look at this. He pump fakes, jumps in the air, slides to his left. Because there are very few guys that can open up their body going to the left and throw the ball back across their body like that. Look at this. This is backpedaling, throwing the ball. Look at this.
Unbelievable.
There are only a handful of guys. There might be 1 or 2 guys in the NFL that can do that. One plays in Green Bay and the other plays in Kansas City. He was special, and the gap between him, look, Russell Wilson may win the MVP, and Russell is phenomenal. But what you're watching right there, that's a transcendent talent, and they don't come along very often.
My turn. I, for one, am not going to overreact to what I saw last night because for the 3rd time, I saw Patrick Mahomes has Baltimore's number. He is now 3-0 against Wink Martindale's vaunted Baltimore Ravens defense. Meanwhile, the Kansas City defense has Lamar Jackson's number. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they were all over him all night long. Lamar Jackson is 21-1 against all the other teams he's faced. He's 0-3 against this team. And last night, I saw Wink Martindale send blitzers 45% of the time against Mahomes. On those plays, Mahomes went 15 of 19 for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns, all against the blitz. Not one time did I see a free runner hit Patrick Mahomes on a blitz. They stoned every blitz as if they knew what was coming. They blocked it up like you couldn't draw it up on a whiteboard. They had a hat on a hat all the way across the line of scrimmage. I've never seen anything like it, except for the one Marlon Humphrey got free on the 1 third down play, and they had it schemed up so beautifully that they knew that Marcus Peters was going to bite.
Yep.
He was covered 3, he had the deep right third, and he bit up on the underneath receiver, and whoosh, Mecole Hardman flew right by him because they knew Marcus Peters from all those practices when he was a Chief. And it was bombs away, right on target. And listen, Patrick Mahomes played about as well as you could play a whole football game. He didn't do a whole lot wrong. He had a 98 QBR. It's hard to have a 98 QBR.
Oh, yeah, 98?
But every time I looked up, on the other side, they blitzed 35% of the time, and every time they blitzed, there were free runners chasing Lamar right out of the pocket.
Right.
And he's on the run. And again, is he built to come back? Well, he's never had to come back in his pro career.
That's not there.
You know, when you get him down by 17, like right out of the gate, he's going to have a hard time. Their offense isn't built to do that, right? And yet I give him some credit that he got him back in the game. It was 27-20 early in the fourth quarter, right?
Right.
I mean, you got to give him some credit there.
But Skip, you said something interesting. You said you're not going to overreact to one game against the Baltimore Ravens. Are you overreacting 2018? Because he was 50 touchdowns and MVP. Are you going to react to 2019? He's
Okay,
Super Bowl
help me
MVP.
out here. Are you overreacting to what we saw last year in the biggest game played in the sport called the Super Bowl?
No.
Patrick Mahomes was not very good in the Super Bowl.
No. What did he do? Didn't he overcome that?
Well, all I know is he threw a late third quarter interception, and they were down 20-10, and I thought it was ball game. Turns right around on the next series early in the fourth quarter and throws another bad interception.
Did it end the game?
And they were down 20-10, and then he got away with a 3rd and 15 throw that was more of a punt than a pass.
Wasp.
And wait a second. Tyreek had to come back and fair catch the pass out in the flat.
Skip, the man is backpedaling.
Yeah.
He got a defender in his face.
He did, and he no-look threw it into the flat and got away with it.
A 44-yard flat.
Got away with it. Well, I don't know. If Jimmy Garoppolo hadn't gone 3 for 11 for 36 yards in the fourth quarter with an interception, we would be having a different conversation.
Reggie, you notice this? When Mahomes boy does something, it's about what the other quarterback didn't do. But there's a certain guy that comes back in the Super Bowl, and it's always what he did, never what the other quarterback didn't do. Are you noticing that too, Reggie?
That's what I noticed about Patrick Mahomes is, one, he is the comeback king because all last year we seen him come back
24
week
down
in and week out against teams down by 24 points to win games. And then the final straw is winning the Super Bowl and having to come back and win that game. So to me, what we're seeing right now, Patrick Mahomes, we're seeing this team really hit its full capability, and we're only in week 2.
And he doing this with no preseason. Hey, Reggie, remember now they said the first 4 weeks, they're going to treat this like preseason. So they got to play their way into shape into the regular season form. He's looking like this.
Yep. That's crazy. That's crazy that he's already looking like this early in the season. The rest of the league is in trouble.
They're in heap of trouble.
Again, if the Kansas City Chiefs already look like this right now, what are they going to look like in week 8? What are they going to look like at the end of the season? They're really all hitting full
What are they going to look like?
They just showed us the gap.
I want 10 cases right now when they play Tampa. I want 10 cases to do right now. 10 cases. Put your do where your mouth is, Skip Bayless. I want 10 cases. Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes. Boy.
We've got to see who's healthy.
I don't care who healthy. I don't care who healthy.
Well, Tom Brady's had his way against Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, really?
You know what? It was just a couple of years ago, I watched Tom Brady convert 3 straight 3rd and 10s in overtime at Kansas City in the AFC Championship
Did they play
game.
Last year? Did they play last year?
Played one
What
time.
happened?
Yep. But it's still 2-1 GOAT.
If they play again, well, they won't go play again because he in the NFC now, so they won't go that far.
Well, right now, Lamar is 0-3 against Mahomes, and right now, I must say it, as much as I love Lamar like Reggie does, Lamar still has 2 stains on his playoff resume because he's played 2 home playoff games, and he did not play well in either one of them.
But, Reggie, you know this offense is not built to play from behind. They're not built to play from behind the sticks. They can't be 2nd and 14. They don't need to be 3rd and 9. And it seems to me is that, like, when Lamar falls behind, he starts to press. We saw that in the playoff game against Tennessee, Skip. He got behind. He started to press, interceptions, got careless with the football. And also, guys are going to have to make plays. He's going to have to make some plays. I mean, he's got flushed outside of the pocket. He's got to find a way to hit that play to Mark Andrews. Yep. He had Hollywood Brown up the rail. You've got to make that throw. When you play against Mahomes, you can't have those missed opportunities because missed opportunities mean you're coming out the field and you're allowing Mahomes to come back onto the field. So Lamar's going to have to shore that up. They're going to be there don't be surprised if these 2 teams settle who decides to go play in Tampa.
I'm going to remind
100%.
I'm going to remind both of you, It's a long season, and we've only just begun.
Yeah, Mahomes.
That's why it's so crazy that Patrick Mahomes is already playing like
and
this.
looking like this. I got 15 more years of this, unfortunately. You think the Broncos can trade for? What can we trade to get Patrick Mahomes in there?
They're going to give up the entire organization. They're going to send John Elway. They're going to send everybody.
Hey, Brittany, would you be willing to give up 2% of the franchise to get Mahomes?
You know what? Take everybody else too.
Wishful thinking, Shannon. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's going to be a possibility for you. Oh, well. Reggie, we appreciate you joining us always. Thank you for your time.
No mercy.
Baseball's postseason is coming, and in just 7 days, FS1 will be your home for the National League Divisional Series. It all gets underway next Tuesday, the NLDS on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Jerry Jones went on his weekly radio show today, and when discussing Patrick Mahomes' ability to extend plays by being mobile, Jerry brought up Dak's end-of-game escape sack and interception against the Seahawks as an example of when those plays don't work. Then he even brought up Tony Romo as a quarterback who could make that type of play. So, there's a lot going on here. Shannon, what do you read into Jerry's comments?
Skip, having played the game 14 years, having covered it, this is the one thing I do know about coaches, and they always try, coaches and owners, they always shy away from, is comparing their players to some other players. Because no matter what you're trying to do, there's a chance that that player might perceive that as a slight. And the one thing that you don't want to happen, you know this very well, Skip Bayless, because you've had a lot of intimate, private conversations behind the scenes when a coach or an owner has said something, and the player might have taken it in a way and that maybe the owner or the coach didn't mean it. Correct. So that's why you stay away from comparison. Says, hey, I like the guy that we have, knowing all the way, man, I'd love to have another guy over there instead of the guy I got in my locker room.
What did you always say about your first Pro Bowl when they're asking you what it's like playing with Dan Marino? You don't want to say,
oh, man, he can throw. I got John Elway. Man, hey, I got 7. I'll take 7. So, and I think that's the thing that Jerry has to understand. Jerry wants to be honest and I understand that he loves Tony Romo. But Tony Romo ain't win you no titles. Now, if you want to say Troy Aikman stacked them Lombardis in there. But to say, I don't get it, Skip. This love that he has for Tony Romo, when Tony Romo never got him to an NFC Championship game, in all the years he was the quarterback, Dak is only in his 5th year now. So there's still an opportunity for Dak to get him there, but he's never bought in to Dak because maybe Dak does not have the flair for the dramatic that Tony Romo. There's a reason why, Tony Romo would throw 3 picks. Well, if Tony Romo brings me back after throwing 3 picks, hell, that's the least he could have done. He dug the hole that got me in this spot. So at least get me out of it. But Jerry, if Dak is anything like me, he's hearing this and he's saying to himself, this, still don't believe in me. That's why I don't have the contract. It don't have anything else to do with anything about no cap, about this, or about that. He doesn't believe that I'm worth this. And he's, Skip, it's not going to end well because Jerry can't keep his mouth closed. It's as simple as that, Skip. He's the owner of the team. He's worth $8 billion. But when you're dealing with players, you have to be careful what you say and how you say it.
Jerry not keeping his mouth closed is nothing new.
No.
Right?
No.
I completely and utterly agree with everything you just said. The problem in analyzing what Jerry just said on the radio in Dallas, Texas, is it's tricky because it's always a little cryptic. You have to read a little bit between the lines here to get to your takeaway, which I believe is the correct takeaway. The bottom line to this is why he dug in and said, I offer you this. We go back and forth on exactly what it was. You said it was a fair offer, but it wasn't an offer you can't refuse. It was one of those that, okay, it's pretty good.
That's nice. That's nice. That's a lot of money.
It's pretty good. It's a lot of money. In fact, if it was 80 guaranteed up at signing,
Skip, think about it. You go from $2 million a year to $33, $34 million a year.
And I was told it was more 36-ish, but whatever. I was also told they want 40-ish, low 40s per year at only 4 years versus 5. Whatever. For whatever reason, Jerry said, too rich for even my blood. He has a reputation for overpaying his stars, who are all like sons to him. But to Dak's credit, Dak is kept an arm's length from Jerry. And it's probably operating in this quote, because I don't think Jerry feels deep, devoted love to Dak, because Dak has never reciprocated the love, right?
Skip, I believe, because remember when they were Dak has always been very receptive to Jason Garrett.
Yep.
I believe when Tony Romo got healthy, Jerry Jones wanted to reinsert Tony Romo into the starting lineup. I believe it was Jason Garrett that fought tooth and nail for Dak Prescott to keep this job.
I believe that.
And Dak Prescott never forgot that. He never forgot the guy that went to bat for him and says, okay, so that's where his loyalty is. And he's always going to Heisman pose Jerry. I don't care if Jerry pays him $60 million. He's going to Heisman pose him because he know deep down, if you'd have got your way, you'd have put Tony Romo back into this lineup. Skip, Tony Romo hadn't been his quarterback in how long? And you bring up Tony Romo?
Somehow Jerry got it in his head that Romo was a walk-off wizard.
Yes!
And I got to rack my brain here. Maybe I'm forgetting several.
Denver.
But wait, I got Denver, but he threw one to Witten against the Giants at the buzzer.
Yes.
It was just a turn in at the, like at the goal line, where he just hooked up at the goal line and just walled off the defender and caught it for the touchdown that won the game.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you that one. But will I ever get over what happened against Peyton and the Broncos at Jerry World?
No.
Because he threw for what, 506?
Yeah, 506. Most
506, and you got the ball in your hands late in the game, and you you throw it to Trevathan, Danny Trevathan, who wears orange. He's in orange.
And Skip, that's the thing. He had this perception that Romo was better than he actually was. He was talking like Romo was Brady, like he was Manning, like he's been Drew Brees. He has not been.
Okay, he did have that extemporaneous gene in him where the play could completely break down. He had some basketball athletic escapability where he could spin out.
Yeah, heck of a golfer. You played great basketball.
He's a point guard.
Yes.
And they said he could really play.
Yes.
But he could spin out of a sack.
Yes.
And, sidearm it 40 yards down the field. A lot of times, Dez was just going up and jumping
and catching. Correct.
Okay, we get that. But there's something he sees missing in Dak. So he gave Dak the escape the other day. What Dak did as a, 6'2", 240-ish or so? When he broke free of the sack and kept his balance.
We said it on Monday. How the hell did he get out of that, Skip?
How did he get out of it, and how did he maintain his uprightness? Like he did not fall to the turf. Okay, then he comes up and he doesn't have a great grip on the ball because he almost lost the ball on the turf. So he doesn't have the laces, and he throws a bit of a wobbler. But Jerry is, I'm not going to say condemning him. He's criticizing between the lines.
Basically, he said Tony Romo would have thrown it. He got it, would have caught it.
Like he's saying that Dak couldn't come up and find somebody. I didn't really see anybody who was open. I saw more Seattle.
If I'm not mistaken, Skip, it was 3rd and 14.
Yep.
And it's 20 seconds. So Dak's like, let me heave this to the end zone because you have no more timeouts. If you catch the ball in bounds, the game is over.
No, do or die.
So Dak says, I got to get the ball to the end zone.
But Jerry's suggesting that Russell Wilson or Tony Romo would have found a jersey that they could have thrown it to, a blue jersey, or, like found a Cowboy jersey, right? Or Russell would have found a Seahawks.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he's a wizard, but Romo, not a wizard.
Right.
I'm not buying that. Romo would be just as likely to throw a pick six going the other way.
Romo probably would have fumbled. But see, that's the thing, Skip. All he does is look at Romo's crowning moments. He never looked at Romo bobbling the snap that would have beat them in Seattle with a walk-off field goal.
That happened.
He never mentioned that. He never mentions the more times that Romo has failed.
What did I call him half the time? Tony uh-oh?
Yes.
Tony uh-oh.
Yes.
Look out. It's disaster.
But in Jerry's mind, Tony Romo won every game that he was a part of. And that I think he's getting it confused with Romo and Aikman. It was Aikman that stacked those 3 Super Bowls, not Romo. But he has this fascination. Maybe he's like a son because he said that's like his son. And he treats him like Steven, like Jerry Jr., like Sharpe, like he's one of his kids.
He does. I would agree. So I think he's looking at Dak somewhat the way you view him, as empty calories. Because Dak, again, last year, 2019, he led the NFL in second half passing. Well, heck, The offense led the NFL in yards gained.
Right.
Okay? So he is a high-level statistical producer.
Right.
But they went 8-8.
Right.
Because too often, as you know, last year we had too many of these same kind of games. I keep watching the same movie where he puts on like an extraordinary second-half passing clinic against Atlanta. They pulled it off. They shouldn't have. It was a miracle. They didn't deserve it, but they won. Against the Rams, I thought he had pulled it off because I did not think that was offensive pass interference. So I give Dak that one. But then the other day, it becomes do or die, and he comes up and just heaves it in the end zone. Well, some of that's just pure luck.
Well, Jerry might have to pull a Philip Drummond and may have to adopt Dak Prescott and start treating him like a son and get some results that he wants to. But Skip,
maybe.
But if you look at this, Jerry makes it seem like he's giving Dak more talent than he's giving Romo. Does he realize that he gave Romo T.O.? Does he realize that he had Jason Witten in his absolute prime?
He did.
And he had an offensive line that could run.
And he had Des Bryant at his apex.
And he had Marion Barber. He had guys that could run. DeMarco Murray, a dominant offensive line that was young and dominant. And you look at the defense with DeMarcus Ware and those guys that he had over there, Greg Ellis, Skip. The Cowboys have always had talent, and they've underachieved even under Romo. Now, all of a sudden, Jerry perceives that they're vastly underachieving because of the quarterback. Jerry, your defense is terrible.
Hey, Tony Romo was 13-3 with a week off for a home playoff game. And Eli went in there and just did a number on him.
Did a number on him, Skip. So, Jerry, Skip, I just don't understand the fascination that Jerry has with Romo, like he just won him like Brady, like won him all these Lombardis.
Final
they
takeaway.
won 2 playoff games with Tony.
That's right. Final takeaway. This is not going to end. I got it. You got it.
Isn't. I know Jerry always gives us material, but if you're Dak and you wake up and you see these quotes, that can't sit well with you. That would be hard to play with.
No mercy.
We are a little over 24 hours from tip-off for Game 1 of the NBA Finals between the Lakers and Heat. Both teams are entering the series red hot, only losing 3 playoff games each on their path to the championship round. And while LeBron is looking for his 4th career championship, Miami is looking to win its 4th as a franchise and first since LeBron left Miami back in 2014. We're now joined by Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard. I can't believe it, Chris. We're finally here. We're finally to the finals. So how much of a shot do you give the Heat?
A smidgen. Not a hit, not a dash, definitely not a scooch. A smidgen. That's it. Right? No, look, the Miami Heat cannot beat the Los Angeles Lakers. For Miami to win this series, the Lakers have to beat themselves. They have to beat themselves by their role players going cold from the outside and not complimenting LeBron and AD. They have to beat themselves by missing free throws. They have to beat themselves by turning the ball over, which they did a lot during the regular season. Playoff Rondo has to revert into regular season Rondo, and Dwight Howard has to revert from being a locker room joy back to being a locker room cancer. That's what has to happen for the Heat to win, because they just can't beat the Lakers on their own. Now, what they have to do to help themselves is they have to get hot and shoot lights out from three-point range. They were the second best three-point shooting team in the league during the regular season. They haven't shot it well in the playoffs, but they better be lights out in this series. They have to out-hustle the Lakers. They got to get every loose ball, every 50-50 ball, battle them on the glass, kind of try to wear the Lakers down with their tenacity and their grit and their never-say-die attitude. I think that's what they did to Boston. I don't know. They can't do that to the Lakers. It'll be tough because of the Lakers' size, but they've got to try. And then finally, Eric Spoelstra, who came up with a defense, walling off the paint, that stopped Giannis. He came up with a defense, the zone, that bothered Boston. He has got to come up with something, probably a mix of those two things, to slow down LeBron James. Now, remember, when Spoelstra was coaching LeBron in 2013 and they beat the Spurs in 7 games, the first 3 games of that series, the Spurs had LeBron befuddled. LeBron averaged 16.5 points on 39% shooting in the first 3 games of that series. Then he figured it out, and they won in 7. Spoelstra should go back and watch that tape and see what they did to slow down LeBron and come up with some variation of. I know they had Tim Duncan, can Bam Adebayo mimic Duncan to some degree, but those are the things they have to do to have a chance to pull off what will be one of the greatest upsets in finals history. I don't think it's happening. Lakers in 5.
I picked the Lakers in this series. I think the Heat deserves a lot of respect, though, because what they're doing, what they did to the #1 seed, it made it look easy in beating the Bucks. What they did to Boston, for the most part, it made it look easy. And Boston is a young and up-and-coming team. Their piece is going to be there for the foreseeable future. And so they're playing extremely well. And as you mentioned, they have not shot the 3 ball well in the playoffs. But when the rubber needed to meet the road, they shot the 3 ball well against the Celtics down the stretch. In all the games that they won, when they needed a 3 ball, Tyler Hero came up big. Dragic came up big. Duncan Robinson came up big. When they needed a 3 and they had to have it to quell any momentum that the Celtics were trying to run, they would snuff it out with the 3 ball. So they're more than capable. They'll hustle. They don't have a superstar, but they have players that fit that scheme that don't care who gets the credit. Jimmy Butler might shoot 20 shots one game and he might shoot 5 the next, because Tyler Hero has it going, because Dragic has it going. The difference that I see now is that why Spoelstra's going to have a tough time stopping LeBron is because of that 6'10" monster that they got now in Anthony Davis. He's for real. I think he's answered the question, because everybody had, is he that dog? He's answered it. You saw what he did. He made mincemeat out of anybody he realized. It's going to be interesting to see him and Bam. It's going to be Kentucky on Kentucky crime, Chris. But I like our guy. And LeBron James knows he's close. He's in the finals of the 100 meters for the gold medal. 4-time champion. I'm right with my guy.
It's over. You got it. I already congratulated you.
Off and running.
So, Chris Broussard, I'm going to use a different word. You use smidge. I'm going to use my wife Ernestine's favorite word, which is drop. If I say, you feel better? She says, I feel a drop better. I give the Miami Heat a drop of a chance to win this series.
Not even a dab?
I think a drop's even smaller than a dab.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I want you to give them more respect than that, Skip.
I give them little to no respect. Chris, you've been covering this league for a long time. So have I. I know, going back to my first go-around with covering the Lakers out here for the LA Times back in the 1970s, the first thing I was taught by Jerry West and then Pat Riley, you win in this league with stars. The Lakers have 2 superstars. The Heat have no superstars. That's the final score here. It's 2-0. I love Jimmy Butler. I love his guts, his grit, his leadership, but he's not a superstar. I love to watch Miami play basketball because they do play the right way. They play as hard as they can play every play. They share it. They make the right decision at the right time. And as Jimmy always says, it's not about stats or fame with us. And it's not. But to Chris's point, if you told me that for 7 games, the Heat could shoot 40% from 3 for 7 NBA title games, finals games, I'd say I would give you a shot in Game 7 to win it.
And you need to get up a bunch of threes, too. You can't just shoot 10 over me, shoot 40%.
But you guys both know, when you get to the NBA Finals, that rim starts to shrink. And it starts to look like the size of a hole on a golf course, a little tiny cup that you're trying to shoot into. And Tyler Hero's going to go up for his first 3-point shot tomorrow night. That's the basket? It looks so big against the Celtics. It doesn't look big anymore. I don't think they can shoot 40%. I don't think they have much of a chance. Would I love to see a 6 or 7 game series? Sure, I would. Would Pat Riley like nothing better in the whole world than to beat LeBron James and to get some revenge on LeBron, leaving him high and dry when he took his talents back to Cleveland? Yes, he would. And I would like to hear Chris speak on that. How much do you think the bitterness lingers, Pat Riley versus LeBron James?
Yeah, I was going to say, Skip, if there was, because people have compared this to Maybe it could be Detroit over Shaq and Kobe in 04. Remember that upset?
Do I?
But that Lakers team was falling apart. Kobe obviously was going through his trial, in Colorado. Yeah. And that Lakers locker room was falling apart at the end of the Kobe Shaq era. This Lakers locker room is together, and LeBron is focused. And he obviously is focused on getting his 4th ring. We know how important that is, getting that ring for the Lakers. So he's not that one superstar in L.A. that never got it done for the Lakers. All that's a factor. But, Skip, you hit it on the head. Miami and Pat Riley is the factor as well. We know how upset Riley was when LeBron left. Even before LeBron made his decision, I remember being at the old network talking about it on TV.
Yep.
Riley was making comments without saying LeBron's name where you could tell he was talking about LeBron. Do you have the guts? Mm-hmm. Do you have the fortitude to stick it out and stay? And you knew he was talking about LeBron without saying his name. And there's the story that somebody in the Heat organization, most people think it was Pat Riley, told LeBron he made the biggest mistake of his career when he left Miami and went back to Cleveland. And, LeBron, we know he's a forgiving guy. He went back to Cleveland with Dan Gilbert. But he remembers, and he definitely remembers this, and he felt at times, in some ways, slighted by the treatment down in Miami. In some ways, I don't want to overstate it, but yeah, he would like nothing more than to bury the Heat in these finals. And that's why I don't think he's going to play around. I don't think he's going to, give them any life. Because, look, if it somehow got to a Game 7, anything can happen in a Game 7. All bets are off with that.
Skip.
So I think he's going to want to bury them early.
I think the thing that they could win this series if they shoot the 3 ball like San Antonio shot the 3 ball against the Heat if they shoot the 3 ball like that, Chris, all bets are off.
So my final point is.
Well, and the thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, think about how experienced that Spurs team was. And I mentioned the Detroit team in 04. Experienced. This Miami team is very young. Outside of Jimmy Butler, Dragic has got experience. But hero Duncan Robinson, who was playing Division III a few years ago, Bam, it would be historic if these young kids could beat the Lakers in this.
It would be impossible. If the NBA Finals were just one game for all the marbles, I would give the Heat a real shot, one game, but it's 7 games. It's just hard to beat 2 superstars 4 times when you don't have a superstar.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, we appreciate you joining us. I'm going to stick with Ernestine. I think a drop there. I think that's a good way to put this one. We'll check in with you soon.
No mercy.
Pro Football Focus has joined the chorus of Eagles fans asking for Philly to bench Carson Wentz amid his early season struggles. In an article posted yesterday, PFF pointed out that Wentz now has 12 turnover-worthy plays, which is over twice as many as any other QB in the NFL. For what it's worth, Eagles coach Doug Peterson dismissed the idea of replacing Wentz with rookie backup Jalen Hurts, saying that'd be, quote, a knee-jerk reaction. So, Shannon, in your opinion, should they go with Hurts right now?
No. This would be a franchise-altering move 3 weeks into the season. And you could no longer go back to Carson Wentz, and you would have to move on from him. And Skip, his 4-year extension doesn't kick in until next year. Carson Wentz won the division last season. He played well given the injuries that were around him. Mm-hmm. And so 3 weeks into the season, you say, you know what? We want to move in a different direction. That's so ridiculous. I don't even know how they came to this conclusion. Doug Peterson is a problem also, Skip, because he's still calling those exact same plays as if he got a very good offensive line. If he's got Barrett in there, if he's got Peters 3 years ago, if Lane Johnson is fully healthy, he's calling plays like he has that. He does not. So he's exposing Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is getting a little shocked because he's taking too many hits, and he's being reckless with the football. He can't turn the ball over. But you can't put him in those situations where he feels he's been unprotected. Put him on the move, Skip. He throws the ball a lot better when he's outside of the pocket as opposed to in the pocket. So you might have to put him on the move. Look at Green Bay, what Rule is doing, LaFleur is doing with Aaron Rodgers. He keeps him on the move. Do that, Peters. And you play for a tie, too. So don't think Carson Wentz doesn't think that, like, man, this joker ain't got no confidence in me.
Correct.
He playing for ties out here.
Yep.
Skip, this would be catastrophic for the Eagles because you do this, you bench this kid, it's over for him in Philly, and you better be right with Jalen Hurts because then what have you got?
So I'm going to answer this question speaking strictly as a Dallas Cowboy lifelong fan. I fear that Dougie P, as you call him, Dougie Peterson, will go knee-jerk and replace Carson Wentz for good with Jalen Hurts. And to your point, once you go there, you better stay there.
If it was, Skip, if it was in his rookie season, I could see it. But you can't do this Skip, you can't do this in year 5.
You would wreck his confidence. You would wreck the team's confidence in him, the city's confidence in him, which is wavering at best right now. I just know Jalen Hurts from the one, well, obviously from his Alabama years, but from the 1 year I watched him very closely at the University of Oklahoma in Lincoln Riley system. He is a leader. He is a playmaker. He is a winner. He would inspire that team, I believe ignite that team with his ability to run it and throw it and score it. He is something to watch because he is so strong for his size. He goes about 6'2"-ish, maybe 230-ish. Strongest guy in the weight room, power-packed legs, hard to get on the ground, and he can run it durably. He's like a running back who can play high-level quarterback. So just the way I watch players at OU gravitate to him and respond to his playmaking, I think you'd see it from the Eagles. So that's my fear. Again, their schedule is really rough for the next 3 games, so it's probably not the time to do it now. They need to try to ride out the storm and just see if your guy can get back on his feet.
Skip, they're 1 game back in the division.
Well, a game and a half.
I mean, I could see if they were like 7 games, 6, 8 games into the season, and they're like 6 games, 7 games. Okay, I get that then. But this?
But you want to talk about scary stats through 3 games? According to Pro Football Focus, he has 12 turnover-worthy plays in 3 games. That's twice as many as any other quarterback. And on throws of 10 or more yards, downfield throws, 62.2% of his passes have been completely uncatchable over 10 yards.
Yeah.
That's 12 percentage points worse than any other quarterback in the league. So he is losing it.
Yeah, he threw some balls, like I said, Skip, but to Miles Sanders when he ran the wheel route, I'm like, bruh, 100% of the balls thrown out of bounds are incomplete.
Yep.
Give him a chance to catch it. Skip, there ain't no way around this, and you know, he's playing bad. He needs to play better. It's as simple as that. Dougie Peterson, you need to call a better ball game. You do not have the offensive line that he can just go back there and hold the ball and throw the ball down the field. He needs to understand he doesn't have the offensive line, and you need to get the ball out sooner.
I've never been a fan. You love him. You nicknamed him Walk It To Him. He's often been Bounce It To Him. And
he's overthrowing it to him now.
Yeah, the problem is, I think he's hitting the wall. And I think you're going to be wrong about this one. And I want to see if Dougie P can be right in his choice.
No mercy.
Bears head coach Matt Nagy announced that Nick Foles would be Chicago's starter moving forward, beginning with this week's game against the Colts. Foles had previously lost the training camp battle with Mitch Trubisky, but he came in during the second half of Sunday's game against the Falcons when the former second overall pick struggled. Foles proceeded to throw 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns in the comeback win. Shannon, is this the right move?
Skip, I don't agree with this. I mean, they were 2-0 going into the game. And so if they lost this game, they'd have been 2-1. And this is what we know about Nick Foles. He does better when the bar is really low so he can clear it. He lost his job in Philly. Okay, he goes on, he bounces around, I think the Rams and I think Kansas City. He comes back to Philly, wins a Super Bowl. Okay, he goes and gets a big payday from Jacksonville. He lost that job to Gardner Minshew because as long when they remember expectations, when the bar of expectations gets raised, he can't clear it. When the bar is low, he leaps right over it. So we're going to see, now that there's expectations, watch what Nick Foles do. Fold like a banquet chair at the end of a night.
You think so?
Watch what I tell you.
I don't know what you don't love about the Magic Man, because he was magic that year in that playoff run. Atlanta, Minnesota, and then there were some expectations against Tom Brady.
Skip. If they lose that game, if they lose that game, they're going to say, man, I can't believe Nick Foles lost to Tom Brady.
He was the Super Bowl MVP.
Okay, why couldn't he beat out Gardner Minshew?
Okay, do you realize what his stats are in the regular season? He has 74 touchdowns to 36 interceptions. Is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
That's like great. His playoffs, 11 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, and he's 4-2 in the playoffs. Will that work?
Well, then why can't he keep a job?
Maybe because they don't respect him enough?
No, Skip. There's a reason why they keep going out and getting play. Gardner Minshew, they don't respect him. Jacksonville trying to get Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, so are you saying that Trubisky is better than Nick Foles?
No, Trubisky ain't better than me.
Okay, so,
you.
so what's the problem?
Skip, stop.
Nick
Skip,
Foles isn't going anywhere right now.
3 games into the season.
Thank you for watching. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Have a good one.